Okay guys, today I'm going to show you how to break down whole poultry. This is a duck, but breaking down a duck, breaking down a chicken, same process. I'm going to do 2 boneless breasts, leg, thigh, wings. Okay, and I'll show you how to get through that. First things first, I started with a boning knife because it's thinner, it's more maneuverable, it's skinnier, so it's going to give us better control over trying to get especially that breast off the bone. First things first, you're going to take the giblets out. This guy only seems to have a neck. A lot of times in that cavity, a lot of times it'll be in a bag, and they will have the heart, the liver, the kidneys, sometimes the gizzards. Okay, today I only have a neck. This here, just for fun factoid, this little piece here is called the Pope's nose. I don't know, just is. Okay. So when I'm going to do a boneless breast, I start by getting that breast off because the rest of this guy is going to give me some stability in getting the bone off. If this was a chicken, I would probably yank that wishbone out. Ducks, it's a little bit harder to do, so we're just going to go straight here. This middle bone right here, the breastbone, this is called a keel bone. Okay, very soft bone, so your knife will actually go through it pretty easily if you have a sharp knife and put enough pressure on it, but we don't want that. We want to go just to the side of it. Okay, can you see how I'm going? Just to the side of it, and you want to ride as close to that bone as humanly possible. Okay, because you can see I'm going to ride right along this bone also. There's a bone right up here. This is basically the wishbone. Okay, and you want to ride that as close as possible because we want as little waste as we can possibly get. Okay, and you see I'm doing long single direction strokes. Okay, I don't want any weird hack job on my breast, any weird lines. Okay, just coming along. Here we go. Get this little cut. Okay. And there's usually a little skip right here. There's a skip in a chicken. Doesn't have as big of a skip in a duck. Okay. Now, the only thing that's left right now that's holding this on is this fat. You can see right here. Now you can use little shimmying motions, and that's not the end of the world. Okay. Now, in general, what we're going to be looking for is joints. So you can see this joint right here. Okay. Now, if you can find the joint, the nice thing is that a knife will go right through in between. Okay. So now I have here the breast with the wing still attached. Okay. To get that wing out, all I have to do is scoop around the wing. If this was a chicken, we love chicken wings, right? But usually this end here, it doesn't really have enough meat. Okay, again, you're going to look for the joint, and I can feel that it's right there, and so all you have to do is put your knife right between the two pieces and it'll go right through. If you're struggling, it usually means that you are not in the right spot. So here I have a wing. Okay, now if you are butchering a duck, number one, we've got to trim up this fat, right? It's a lot of fat. Ducks have a lot of fat. Helps keep them warm. Okay, we've got to get rid of this fat here. But if you are doing a duck, you need to keep going a little bit. With a chicken, here is where the tender is going to come on. You can see this kind of has the same thing. This is where the tender is, right? This is the tender, you know, like chicken tenders. Okay. Usually you got to get rid of that because, especially with a duck, if you see this is silver skin. That's actually really tough, chewy, and not very edible. And with a duck, you also want to get rid of all of this here. This is also silver skin. So all you have to do is just take your knife right under it and just pull it off like that. Okay. So I'm going to just jump past that, and I'll come back and do this later for myself. But you can see all you do is you get under it, and you want to see how I'm holding my knife kind of in an upward way. That way you lose as little of the meat as possible, and you do have to be careful because he likes to hide underneath there. You can see it goes down to about here. So you do have to lose off a little bit of meat, but it's worth it because otherwise it's going to get really tough and chewy. Okay, so here's breast number 1. I've got a wing here. So I've got wing, breast. Now I'm just going to basically come and do the same thing on the other side. Okay, follow along that keel bone. Here's that little skip that I talked about. Okay, follow the bone all the way down. Okay. Notice how I'm not leaving any meat behind if I can help it. That's the trick. You got to get as much meat off there as you possibly can. This bird had a nice little life. Okay. There we go. Keep going. And notice your knife has to be very sharp to do this effectively. Okay, now I'm to where it's only fat holding it on. Okay. Now I'm to the joint. And again, if your knife doesn't go right through, you're not in the right spot. Okay. I come in here. See? It basically tells you where it wants to be cut. Okay, if you just look for the joints and follow the anatomy of the animal, it'll usually tell you where it wants to be cut. So I now have 2 breasts, 2 wings. All right, so, and my neck. Next thing I'm going to do is we're going to flip this bird over. And this is the part that kind of weirds people out, but you have to do it. You're going to just crack it. Okay, you want to pull it back because what you're needing to do is pop. You got to pop the leg out of the joint. Okay, by popping that leg out of the joint, it tells you where to go. So now, see how I've got it popped? I'm going to take this. Now see this little part right here, how it's fleshy? This is going to be the oyster on any flying animal, right? This is going to be the oyster. It's considered the best part, so you really want to make sure you get it. It's kind of like the muffin top, right? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go down in here and we're going to scoop that guy out as we're coming down. So see how I got a little nugget on top? That is the oyster, okay? And then all we're going to do is follow that backbone straight down, okay? Cut him off right here. Again, you'll need to do some trimming. Okay. Now, in general, duck is left in quarters with leg and thigh attached, but I'm going to show you how you know where to cut. Okay. Do you see that little white line? Huh? Okay. If you were to feel that white line, if you go right below the white line, you go through the leg and thigh every single time. Okay, so if you just go right there where that white line is, it cheats and it tells you where it wants to be cut, and you can do that. Okay, so again, I'm going to show you one more time. We're going to come through here. Okay, and again, make sure you get that oyster. This is also why a narrow tip is good. Now, some people just use their thumb, and that works also. But if you see, that narrow tip allows me to kind of maneuver around a bit. And then I'm just going to come straight down, following that backbone. And all you got to do is trim that up, and you've got another beautiful leg and thigh. Okay? Stock, stock, stock. You can take these extra bits of, the neck also would go into the stock pile. You can take these extra pieces of fat and put it on a really low heat. Duck fat is prized for its flavor. Duck fat potatoes are a thing. So if you just put this into a cold pan on a really low heat and let it sit for a while, you can have your own fat on that. Also, and what I'm going to do with these legs and thighs, if you completely submerge legs and thighs into duck fat and cook it on a very low, slow temperature, that is called duck confit. It's actually a preservation technique, and it's very delicious. Okay? All right, so that's how to butcher down a whole bird.